Howdy, WBP crew. Welcome to Work It Out with Lauri, the no-nonsense show for anyone navigating workplace bullying, chaos, or straight-up dysfunction. I'm Lauri Lillie, your host, workplace anthropologist, survivor of workplace abuse, and the founder of the Workplace Bullying Project. I'm here to help you make sense of all the drama you're experiencing at work.
And I'm Kosmo Esplan, Sir Showrunner and your backstage guide, directly providing Lauri with your questions and workplace dilemmas so you get the practical solutions you need. Each episode will be a short-form podcast tailored to a specific topic and clarified thanks to Lauri's expertise. So what do you say? Let's work it out. Welcome, everyone, to the premiere episode of Work It Out with Lauri, the Workplace Bullying Project podcast. I'm very excited to be with the one and only Lauri today as we debut this new show. Welcome, Lauri.
Thanks, Kosmo. Appreciate the introduction. And yes, I am Lauri Lillie, and for those of you who don't know anything about me, I am the founder of the Workplace Bullying Project. I'm a survivor of workplace abuse, and I am a professionally trained and educated business anthropologist. I'm really excited about this podcast, but before we get into all of the details, I want to introduce Kosmo Esplan, who's going to be with me on all of these different episodes. He's my colleague, and he's also my nephew, but he has all of the chops for this role. And Kosmo, why don't you kind of share a little bit about your background?
Yes, thank you, Lauri. I'm excited to be working on this Work It Out podcast as well. My formal title is Sir Showrunner. We landed on that. Very official. And I have a background in media as well. I hosted a web series for a little bit, and I've done some other radio shows and podcasts along the way. And I've been creating some content off and on for Lauri since she started the Workplace Bullying Project. And we're going to delve into a lot of topics. So what is your ultimate goal, your end goal with the Work It Out with Lauri show?
My goal here is so important. I think this issue of workplace bullying and abuse and the overall dysfunction within work right now is at an all-time high. It's ruining lives. People's livelihoods are being annihilated. Their health is being ruined. And the trickle-down effect and negative impacts of these highly abusive workplaces, as well as highly abusive bullies, is life-changing. Anyone who has been abused and bullied at work can attest to the fact that it is a life-changing event. I know for me, my life was changed dramatically because of what happened to me at work. I think that we need to spread awareness rapidly, but beyond spreading awareness, I think it's really, really critical that we provide the information about how people can stay safe at work. There is so much bad advice out there for people who just are not informed, and that's not anything against anyone. We're living in a world where not everybody understands the dynamics of psychological abuse and bullying at work. They're doing the best they can with the information they have at hand. Unfortunately, it's leading to harm. And so I want to make sure that I'm a voice for people who need help. This is meant to be a dynamic podcast where people are sending in topics to me, and I'm hitting on important questions or articles or things that are of interest to the listeners of this podcast so that people are getting information they need to make good decisions about the challenges and the very, very troubling dynamics they're facing at work.
You know, in this digital age, it doesn't seem like there's as many sources as you would think for something like this in particular. So I think having something like this, especially as podcasts are really on the rise, is going to be helpful. A lot of people go through different experiences at work that play out in their professional career as well. So what are some of those major bullet points that you want to hit and touch on, and will probably inevitably come up in the questions and forums as well?
Sure. The sky is the limit in terms of topics here because, again, as I mentioned, we want to take in information and questions from listeners. But some of the most critical factors as it relates to work that you're going to hear me from the mountaintop with my megaphone are going to be about imposter leadership If you follow me on LinkedIn, big community there on LinkedIn, I talk about it constantly. Imposter leadership. Without imposter leadership at the helm, bullying cannot exist. It is when imposter leadership is present that bullying is not just possible, but it is sponsored. So you're going to hear me talk ad nauseum about that. You're going to hear me talk about human resources. And I want to be very careful as we talk about these topics, because I truly believe that everyone is doing the best they can at work, who are in these positions of trying to help people who are being bullied. Unfortunately, they're part of a system. So we're going to talk a lot about the systems of work that actually create problems of bullying and create dynamics where bullying is possible. We're going to talk a lot about DARVO, okay? Grievances, performance improvement plans. And beyond that, we're going to talk about, gosh, what happens after you're out of the abusive workplace? How do we get to safe employment? How do we get to employment that's healthy, where we can begin to heal? And then how the heck do we make sure that we take action to ensure we don't get bullied again? How do we disrupt this cycle of abuse? I think it's a topic that is not nearly discussed often enough. And it's one that I'm really passionate about, because people talk often about, you got to get out, you got to get out, you got to get out. Yes, absolutely. In many, many cases, you need to get out. And how do you do this? And how do you remain in control of your livelihood? I simply cannot tell you how many times I've heard and received emails from all over the world, people all over the world, telling me about the impacts of workplace abuse and how they've lost their livelihood and the struggles that they've had finding employment going forward, the struggles because of the sabotage of their former bully or active bully if they're actively sabotaging. There are so many dynamics at play, and I'm finding that as I've had WBP was founded in July of 2023, I found that what I have to share extends beyond the written word. Far too nuanced. So now we're getting into Work It Out with Lauri, where I'll be able to share some of these nuances and provide guidance in a way where you feel empowered, or targets of bullies feel empowered to make decisions, because I don't have all of the right answers for every single person. Every person is unique. So this idea that I can just sit behind this microphone and say, this is exactly what you need to do, there's a lot of dynamics at play. And so I'm going to provide the strategies and the critical thinking skills and a way to look at every problem that comes my way or that you're faced with, so that you can feel empowered to make the right decision for you.
So most of the people listening are probably here because they heard about the announcement that you sent out last week to the Workplace Bullying Project subscribers and community and everything. And you mentioned the origin of that started at, I can't believe it's been 2 years ago already. Time flies.
2 years. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how many people I've had the honor of supporting in the 2 years since I started WBP. This is not just something that's going on at your workplace. If you're listening, this is global. There are millions of people right now today who are being bullied and abused at work, and that is unacceptable.
And that's evidenced too by the tens of thousands of people who have followed your content on LinkedIn particularly. But one of the reasons that we wanted to launch this show was to get it out into, other corners of the internet, broaden the base of people who are listening and learning from your expertise in the field.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that was so important to me is LinkedIn is a wonderful platform. The unfortunate reality is that targets of bullies are being tracked by bullies on LinkedIn. And I've had people come to me and tell me, I'm sorry, but I love your content and you've been so helpful, but I want you to know I can't engage with you. I can't like your content. I can't share your content. I'm completely handcuffed because my employer actually came to me and said, you need to remove yourself from that particular group. I don't want to see you interacting with them. And gosh, what kind of a place are we in the world where an employer can dictate the fact that you're clicking like on a piece of content. That, to me, tells me they know they're bullied. Part of me, beyond just the nuance of what we're talking about here and how I feel that I have so much to say as we're all refining in this number one premiere episode, is that I need to get to a place where people can interact with my content in a safe way without their bullies tracking them. And so for those of you who are listening, who are actively being bullied right now, I'm on several different spots, okay? I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Substack. This is going to be going to Spotify as well as YouTube. You can interact with me on my website, and we'll give you direct links there in every episode so you can access the materials that I have available to anyone who is being bullied. But we'll get into a few more things about how to get in contact with us and how to actually submit materials or your questions if you have them here shortly. But go ahead, Kosmo, or Mr. Showrunner.
Yes.
What's next?
That's Sir Showrunner.
Yes, sorry.
I think that we've laid quite a bit of the groundwork here for what this show is trying to accomplish and why you decided to start it. And I think we're going to be digging more into some of the more niche topics in these first few episodes to really get a good baseline for knowledge and what workplace abuse looks like. In short, give us the elevator pitch. Why should people keep listening to Work It Out with Lauri, a Workplace Bullying Project podcast?
If your job is wrecking your nervous system, if you are ruminating and overthinking about your workplace, the person bullying you, if you're worried you're going to lose your livelihood because you have someone who is emotionally unhinged, unwell, perhaps a dark quad personality, we don't know, right?
Get into that too, I'm sure.
We're going to get into some of that. If you feel that your livelihood is at risk, this is where you need to come to listen for solutions. I've got your back. Every single episode, we're going to be tackling what are likely real-life scenarios you are faced with every single day, and we are going to work it out together.
There you have it. 1 in a million elevator pitch. Thank you, Lauri.
Thanks, Mr. Showrunner.
Yes, and for everyone listening, I will be here with Lauri every episode as well. I will be asking the questions that you, the listeners, submitted through the workplacebullyingproject.com website. If you have a question that you would like Lauri to answer on air, go ahead and visit that website. We just put up a page where you can drop in your questions. You can be anonymous. You can use a pseudonym, your real name, whatever you want. So go check that out. If you have a dilemma or a conundrum you're facing at your workplace, this is the number one location where you want it answered. Thank you for joining me for this first show, Lauri, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Let's work it out, Kosmo. Thanks so much for tuning in to Work It Out with Lauri. If today's episode hit home at all, please share it with someone who needs it. And please remember, you deserve to work in peace. Oh, and hey, if you're listening and you're currently a target of a workplace bully and you need help, please feel free to schedule an initial consult with me. It's completely free and completely confidential. I've got your back.
And remember to follow this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Substack. Plus, send us your story or your question at workplacebullyingproject.com.
We'll see you next time, and we'll work it out together.